Welcome, Laura Rogers.
Hi.
Thank you for being here. I'm stoked that you're going to be co-leading Ignite Power Awaken Feminine Leadership with me on May 2nd through 4th. And I
Yeah.
wanted to introduce you to the community. Would you like to tell us a little bit about what you do and how long you've been in your field?
Yeah. Well, I'm a yoga instructor. I'm also a Reiki healer. And I've been doing yoga teaching for about 5 years. I started my journey, though, into the process of kind of this healing of self about 17 years ago. So that has been a major process and step into helping other women. So a lot of times when we step on the mat, we get a chance to look at ourselves. And when I'm teaching a class, I really kind of direct it in a way where you're really looking at what each pose is teaching you. So I'm really about the understanding of self, because I feel like we empower ourselves when we begin to understand ourselves. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And so your specialty area is spirituality, yoga, meditation?
Yes, all the above. So those are the things that I thrive on. I live with, I work with, I breathe. And I really do believe that when we tap into that self, that honoring of that authentic truth of who we are, we can really unleash this power that is beyond what we could even imagine. So we become these women, a force to be reckoned with, really. So yeah, that's exactly what I'm about.
Yeah, so Laura and I met in yoga teacher training in Janet Stone's yoga teacher training in Esalen.
Yes.
And I was immediately impressed with your presence, with how you carried yourself. It was the first time you had been away to a retreat. You were uncomfortable and you just fought through it. And it was, your sharing at the end of the retreat was very powerful for me, because it was, I didn't think I could do it, and I stuck with it, and I did it, and it was life-changing. And so
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I loved that retreat. I had never really been away from home. In fact, most of my life I've struggled with anxiety, social anxiety, to a point where I couldn't function sometimes. Like, I couldn't go in public. I couldn't go into a shopping center, a mall. If I wanted to go to a restaurant, I had to have people tell me how the restaurant was set up, things like that. So when I started working on this journey with myself, and once I met my mat, and I call it a relationship with my mat because it has taught me so much about who I am, I would have never imagined in a million years that I could teach in front of others, that I could speak to you right now and be comfortable. So when I went on that journey to that retreat, it was huge to be away from my family, from my safe haven, and just explore and be with all these other women. And it was amazing. I was like, oh my gosh, I loved it. I went home and I felt so full. So yeah, and I'm a firm believer that, we see, like, I saw you and I said, wow, she has something that I want. And it's not monetary. It's not, these outside things. It's this inside thing,
Yeah.
And so when I look at you, I go, wow, man, she has something that I possess that I want and I want to be around. And that's kind of what I think women need to start understanding. We can receive and give, like, all these wonderful, juicy things to each other without, like, being envious. It's about this inside job. Like, we all have these really great gifts to share. And sometimes we don't get to see them because our window gets clouded. It gets covered by all this stuff through our life, and the lens gets blurry. And I am here on this workshop to really start removing some of that, so the lens is clear. So you get to see your authentic self.
So perfect, because that's exactly what, two things you just said are exactly what's happening in the Ignite Power Retreat. Women are going to be surrounded by other women on the same journey, and really looking at what is it to be in the healthy adult feminine, which is empowering each other, not being in competition with each other.
Yes.
And the second thing you said about the lens getting clouded, and we forget who we really are.
Yes.
And one of the aspects of this retreat is inventing who we really are, or unearthing or reigniting to that.
Yep.
And then looking at how those barriers get in our way from achieving that. So thank you for that segue. So I want to ask you a couple questions about women's issues. What do you think women can do to unleash their internal superpowers?
That's a big question. Well, and I think some of it is just what I've kind of already touched base on. In order to release our superpower, we need to stop giving it away. And we need to kind of look at our internal self and be like, wow, I am worth something and I am enough. And I think a lot of the times we forget that we're enough. And sometimes the things that's happened to us, we feel as if we're broken. And we're not broken. We're always whole. It's just, once again, it comes back to that lens, and that lens being clouded, and uncovering the lens and wiping away all those things that we can't really see the truth of who we are. And I think once we begin to tap into that power of who we are, we unleash a voice. So all of a sudden we begin to have a voice. And when we have a voice and we unleash this confidence, that's that superpower. It's all here. It starts within. We can't get it from the outside sources.
Yeah, that's so great. So you just answered 4 questions in one. So good job for being efficient. By the way, being efficient and being productive is an adult masculine trait. An example of integration. So we kind of already shared a little bit about a breakthrough in the whole thing about having fear about being anxiety around people, and now being able to even be on this webcast and lead yoga. So that was the last question. It was, what was your biggest breakthrough in your own feminine journey, in your own feminine leadership journey?
Yeah, so my biggest breakthrough, I think it was about finding my voice and becoming a woman who I always wanted to be. And I think most of us, we know that we have this movement towards where we want to be, and we stop at some point and we feel like we aren't enough. We're not smart enough, good enough, kind enough, strong enough, rich enough, pretty enough. There's all these things that we think that we're not enough, right? And when we just kind of slow it down, and that's one of the beautiful things about meditation, is when you slow down the ripplings of the mind, everything becomes so much clearer. And all those things that we have covered ourselves with start to fade away, and we become powerful. And one of the things that was really interesting for me at the Janet Stone was the singing. And when we'd go around in the circle and sing, and I remember how everybody's voice was so much smaller at the beginning than it was at the end, right?
Yeah.
Such a beautiful thing to just see everybody's voice grow. And I think when we unite as women and then we come together, beautiful things happen. That's what I think.
Laura, I am so moved and inspired by your yes and who you're being right now. And I can't wait until May 2nd when we get to work together and bring these women into their full feminine power. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And,